Well, it's almost a month since I've installed the new stereo on my car, so I thought I'll create a new video for its review. So the stereo that I've installed is Woodman's Xtreme 2.0, and my car is Vitara Brezza. It's a DA plus. So let's begin with why I changed the stock stereo. The stereo was decent. I used it for almost 2 years. For me, it was kind of dated because when I purchased the car, I had thought that the Android Auto will mature over time and will start support more applications. So disappointingly, I think the applications count did not increase. We were left with only a few applications still in Android Auto. So having a touch screen didn't really matter much because you are left with one or two applications all the time. So the search for the stereo lasted for almost a month. I visited a lot of local shops, accessory shops, to get a flavor of the Android head units that we have in market. So what I found from the accessory shop is that they have tie-ups with specific brands, and in case something goes wrong, then you'll have to visit their accessory shop to get it either replaced or repaired. At first I thought it was okay because you don't have to worry about all the warranty issues and everything. So then I also heard about the fact that at times some of the accessory shops has terminated their contract with their brands because of some issues with the warranty or repairing, and I think also based on customer feedback. So I thought, what will happen if I purchased a stereo from a car accessory shop and eventually they terminate their tie-up with the brand? So you'll have to deal with the brand directly, right? So I searched the brands, for the brand's contacts. To my surprise, I think almost none of them had a website, or their names or their brand names didn't even come up in Google search. So that was a bit setback. So I thought I'll search YouTube for some decent brands, or at least search Amazon or Flipkart to get to know what are the brands which are commonly available. And that is when I found out 4 brands which are decent enough. They were Woodman, Hypersonic, DHC, and Haman. And I think all of these brands have at least a website put in place. From the YouTube videos, what I observed is, it is important to have the customer support, right? So Woodman was fairly mentioned by all in the customer review that it has a decent customer support. So but that is the reason why I chose Woodman. And also, if you visit the website of Woodman, it is fairly easy to navigate. It felt like very well organized. You can immediately find out what you want, right? Yeah, that's the reason I chose Woodman. And I also get to know the flavor of their customer support team, because before I purchased the stereo, I chatted with the sales support for more than an hour, because I didn't want to make any changes in the car, and also I didn't want to drill another hole in the back to install another camera. So I wanted to reuse the stock camera. Most of the Android Auto head units, they come with another camera that you have to install in the back. So yeah, this was the sales support team of Woodman told me that this is not needed. You can still use the stock camera of Brezza. So that's I was pretty happy with this, because like I said, I didn't want to make any changes with the stock car. Okay, so let me tell you why I chose this unit, Xtreme 2.0. Woodman has different flavors of head units. 2 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte brands. I mean models, and 2 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte models. I chose 4 gigabyte because of the fact that you will not be upgrading this head unit throughout the lifetime of this car, right? Unlike mobiles, we will not be swapping the head unit every 2 years or so. So this is going to be in this car for its lifetime. So if such a unit needs to be in the car, and it's also an Android unit which has Play Store and everything. So over time, what I've seen in my one of my friends car stereo is that it gets sluggish because more and more applications become they become more powerful in the sense that they start using more and more features of the unit, and the hardware or the software cannot support it. I read somewhere that Google has something called Play services. So in earlier days when Android was there were fragmentation issues of Android. Fragmentation issue means a manufacturer will not be upgrading their software or their hardware to support new applications and new services which Google offers. Right. So what Google came up with is something called Play services, which is kind of an abstract over all the hardware that is in the phone, so that it supports backward compatibility, so that every time there is a new version or something new has to be created, they push through Play services, and the old phones can still work with backward compatibility. So Play services offers a software solution to the fragmentation issue, and because it is a software solution, it obviously needs processing power and memory. So it was my mild guess that over time the applications will take more power. So I thought I'll choose 4 gigabyte and an unit which has a decent processing power. So this one has 8 cores. So yeah, that's the whole story why I choose Woodman and 4 gigabyte version. And plus, this was the only stereo which had Android 10. Okay, so now let's dive deep into the stereo as such. Okay, so let's first look at the hardware part of the stereo, and then we will look into the apps and other settings that we have. So if you look at the stereo, you can see that all the touch button controls are on the left side, and we have the power, home, back, and the volume controls. And in addition, we have a mic and a reset button on the top left side. So what I think is that this stereo panel was designed for a left-hand drive because it is very convenient if the driver is on the left side and the touch controls are also on the left side. So yeah, that's what I think. So I have installed 2 apps inside the stereo. Let's first take the CPU set. So this have different tabs here. So what it shows is that we have, as advertised, we have 8 processors. 2 are A75 ARM and 6 are A55. Both have the same clock speed. The device as such has 1280720 pixels, so that's 720p. DPI is 268 pixels per inch. We indeed have 4 gigabyte of RAM, and the available storage, internal storage, is 51 gigabyte. So what was advertised by Woodman is 4 gigabyte and 64 gigabyte. So I think this is typically it. So yeah, the other stuff is Android version 10, API level 29, and yeah, I think the other okay, there is an advertisement coming in. Yeah, what we need to know now is what kind of a processor it has, or in fact what kind of an SoC is silicon on chip, that's marked here. It's a board. If someone who don't know what SoC is, it's a typically kind of a motherboard where many components come together. So I have another app called Geekbench. What it detects is the CPU model is UIS 7862A. We'll come to this later, but I have also created a benchmark for the performance of this unit. The result is for single core, the app has given 357, and for multi-core it has given 1342. So to compare what this core really means, so this device is 357. So Geekbench has a set of other phone models. So what we can compare to is Redmi Note 7, because it has a single core processor performance of 331. So this one has 357, so it's better than Redmi Note 7 in some aspects. And the multi-core performance is 1342, and again it is comparable to the Xiaomi Redmi Note 7. So yeah, I think what we can compare this unit is with Note 7. So what Geekbench says that it is slightly better than Note 7 in terms of performance. So coming back to the initial thought, the CPU is UIS 7862A. If you search this on web, let's check Chrome. I think I already have. Oh, yeah, this was the model number, but let's first check UIS 7862A. In this first item, it is shown that it is a brand called Unisoc. So Unisoc is a Chinese brand, chip manufacturer. It doesn't have a fab. Let's try Unisoc. On Wikipedia, it was formerly called Spectrum Communications. Let's open the wiki. Yeah, it looks like it's Tiger T610. If you look at the CPUs, it is almost similar. You have two A75 and six A55. It's not a bad processor after all, because I saw that it is being used in many smartphones. So yeah, and you also see that it has a decent performance when compared to Redmi Note 7. So the fact is that the SoC is Chinese. That's what I wanted to point out. And this is the model number that we also get from the Geekbench. If you search this model, maybe have some images. No. Yeah, this is typically. This is also used in another head unit from Joying, and if you look at the pictures, it almost shows exactly as it is. Have a look at this, because we also saw the same thing for ZPU Z. Eight cores, two clusters, two A75 and six A55. So the joins also have the same thing. So yeah, I think what we have, also the GPU is the same. So I think what we have now is similar to the board that Joing has. So this is UIS 7862 as well. So yeah, it's also Android 10. So many things are comparable. So I think what we have on Xtreme 2.0 is also the same hardware.